So, hello everybody, welcome. So we're going to talk about the sick leave reporting. Um, I will let you guys know that this is still a very new process. So I'm still learning too. Please feel free to ask any questions that you might have as we're going along. So basically what's happening is starting January 1, all employees within the community college systems, that includes all of us, will earn sick leave. The max that you can have of your sick leave is going to be 48 hours. So the way it's going to work though is that when you submit the electronic timesheet, so this training is going to be specifically to electronic timesheets. So if you do have multiple jobs, then we'll kind of talk about that a little bit. But basically for every timesheet that you submit, you accrue 1 hour of sick leave for every 30 hours that you work. Your sick leave will be able to roll over to the next fiscal year. So our fiscal year ends June 30th. So it will continue to roll over until you've reached that max of 48 hours. If you are an employee that works at multiple institutions, you're going to have separate sick leave at each institution. It's not going to be combined for all of us. It's not going to transfer from institution to institution either. And I'm sorry. Any sick leave that you have, if you end up resigning or separating for whatever reason, it will be maintained. And then if you return, then it would be reinstated to you. And that's within, again, the same institution. Okay, so there's a lot of reasons why you could use sick leave. It's for the obvious stuff if you're sick. So you're ill, you can't come to work today. You can also use it for injury that maybe is not related to workers' comp. Of course, if you're in the workers' comp situation, then we can talk more about that one-on-one. Any other conditions, so medical appointments is the big one that falls in this category. If you have doctor's appointment, dentist appointment, anything that's maybe preventative. So that would all fall in this category as well. You can also use it for health needs of your children or somebody that maybe is dependent on you. So if you have a child that's sick, needs to stay home, or they have a doctor's appointment, things like that, you can use it for them as well. And then the last category is if there is any sort of, if you're a victim or a family member of yours is a victim to domestic abuse, sexual assault, or harassment. Any sick leave though that you need to use that's beyond 3 scheduled work days, we just ask that you reach out to us just because there may be other categories that you may qualify for. And so we want to just make sure that you know what all your rights are. Okay, so the way the sick leave is going to accrue, like I said, it's going to be based off of your timesheet. So for every hour, you accrue 1 hour for every 30 hours that you work. But of course, most of us are working the 28 hours or maybe limited to 20 hours if you're a student. So the way it's going to work is it'll be prorated. So if you work 15 hours on your timesheet, then you would get 0.5 hours accrued. Basically for 1 hour, you would get 0.03 hours. And that's just kind of, the system will automatically do the proration. If you are a person that is also an instructor, because we do have a lot of people that have multiple jobs on campus. So if you're somebody who does teaching as well as timesheets, we'll look at you more on a case-by-case basis and decide what do you do more. If you are somebody who maybe tutors all the time, and then you might sub once in a while, then we'll pay you based off of your timesheets. But if you're somebody who teaches all the time and you may tutor once in a while, we're going to pay you based off of your teaching schedule. So just kind of keep that in mind if you cross over those 2 categories. If you're an employee that has multiple timesheets because you have multiple appointments within the same department or even other departments, you would accrue leave on each one of those timesheets. Okay, so when you're in the portal, you can go in there and see your sick leave balances. You guys may already have sick leave balances in there. It just kind of depends on where what you have had been going, what's been going on. So the first pay period that accrued leave would have been on 1/15. So that would have been for time that was worked from 12/19 to 1/1. So just kind of keep that in mind. You may already have leave balances. And then we also have the timesheets that were just recently due 1/2 through 1/15. Those, I believe you guys are getting paid on Friday for those. You will probably have your leave accrued for that as well already. So you can go into your leave balances. When you go into the portal, same place that your timesheets are at, right above it, there's going to be a time and leave section. Normally you would go into the time report to see your timesheets. Right above that is going to be leave balances. When you click on that, you should be able to see what your leave balances are. And this is kind of what it'll look like. So you'll have your sick leave with your total hours. You may have, actually, I'm sorry, you won't have anything in your available beginning balance because that number is what's in your balance as of July 1. Since you guys weren't accruing leave back then, it'll be 0 for now. Earned to date, this will be whatever you've earned to date. And then if you've taken any, then it would show in here as well. And then you'll see your available balance as well. So it's just kind of how you can look at your leave as a whole. The approved but not taken column, that's always going to reflect 0. And that's just because of the way that you're going to be submitting your sick leave, which is our next topic, how to submit it. So when you go into your electronic timesheets, hopefully you're all familiar with those. That's where you're going to be able to submit that, that leave. It's going to still be the same as it was before. All your hours need to be in 15-minute increments. Complete and submit your timesheet as usual. The only difference is going to be where the sick leave is. So when you look at, this is a example of a work study timesheet. So you'll see a student sick leave earnings code now. So when you go in here, you can click on it to enter your hours that you used for sick leave. I'm going to go back to this previous slide though, because there's something really important about this. Is if you submit more leave than what you have available, you're not going to be paid for that. It's going to show up on your pay stub as non-paid leave. So you want to be very, very careful to not submit more leave than what you have, or to make sure that those numbers are very accurate so that you don't short yourself any pay. Okay. So this is an example of the non-student hourly timesheets. They essentially look exactly the same. It just says sick leave instead of student sick leave. Okay, so when you are submitting your hours under sick leave, what happens is if you don't have enough leave to cover it, it will tell you you have a insufficient leave balance. So just be very diligent to pay attention to those. Don't ignore it. If you do see that, either you need to adjust your timesheet to show that you just didn't work those hours. Just don't ignore it because it could cause problems for you later on, especially if you did it on accident. If you believe that there's a mistake though, and that you do have enough leave and you're still getting that error message, please reach out to me or to the payroll office, and we can discuss it before you submit your timesheet. And that's kind of it though. So hopefully it won't be too terrible for you guys. Do you guys have any questions for me?
I do, Lakeisha. Do they have to submit a leave request like we do, or they just go in and put it in their timesheet?
They're just going to put it in the timesheet, Danielle. So
Okay.
they won't have to do the leave request at all. Are you going to be at the supervisor training? I think it's tomorrow.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll talk about that, what it'll look like more from the supervisor perspective for you as well. Then.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did we have any questions ahead of time, Ashley?
Not that I recall seeing. I'll double check.
Stop sharing.
But yeah, any questions, guys, feel free to come off a mute or pop it in the chat if you are curious about any of the processes. And like Lakeisha said, I'm sure that we'll be getting more information about it and we'll be sharing that with you too.
Yeah, it's been a very big learning curve for all of us.
Sorry, Lakeisha, this is Julie Brownrigg.
Hi.
Hi, I'm wondering too, you said that this does roll each fiscal year. Does that include for work study as well?
Yes, yep,
Okay.
it's gonna, anybody that's doing the timesheets that was previously not accruing leave. So those of us that are full-time folks, we were already accruing leave. So our students, our work studies, temp hourlies, all of them will all be accruing leave.
We did have one about what happens if I don't have enough leave. And yes, Debbie, I'm recording this session, so I'll be posting it and sending it out to everybody so they have access to it.
Yeah, so if you don't have enough leave to cover it, then you would be, you would use, you'll get that insufficient message if you submit the leave without the proper balances. If you, and then you would just not receive that pay. If you did actually take that time off and you would just kind of submit it the same way you would before, except for you would have that sick leave to cover. Say you had an hour, but you took the whole day off, you would have an hour that was paid, the rest of the day would not be.
And just to clarify for the work studies who are on, if you have like, say you have 1.3 hours, that's not 1 hour and 30 minutes, that's 1 hour and what,
Like 15
15,
minutes.
17, something like that. So in the
Yes.
15 hour, yeah, 15 minute increments, it's 25, 50, 75, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Danielle.
You're
That's
welcome.
very,
It's
that is a very
confusing.
good point. I didn't think about mentioning that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and one other thing that I do want to point out too, just while I have you guys here, if you guys are in a situation where you have a student that is taking time off due to anything with COVID related, we don't want to use this sick leave when it's COVID related, unless you've already talked to me about that. So I haven't made that a big point, but I do want to make sure that we're not using it for that paid leave, because it's totally different. Just like with us, we would use our own sick leave after we've used the COVID leave. We want the same thing to happen for them. At least for now, while we have that leave. All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Lakeisha, for sharing this
Absolutely.
information with us. And then I will send this out, like I said, once I get it posted to YouTube, you can kind of watch it if you need to share it to some people who were unable to attend. And then please let us know, or Lakeisha know. I'm not going to answer your questions. Lakeisha is the expert here, so please let Lakeisha know if you have any questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And that way, if there are questions, then I can maybe address it to everybody too, and help them out, because there may be people that just haven't asked questions yet.
Well, thanks for joining us this morning, and have a wonderful rest of your day today. Hopefully some of that snow melts off.
The sun is out. Yay.
Feels so nice.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
You too. Thank you.